So Dan has been working on this feature in isolation at the moment, and we'd like for him to collaborate. So to do that, Dan first of all has to get the feature onto the central repository, and then the person he's collaborating with, maybe the person that's reviewing the feature, can then grab that feature and take a look at it. So to do that, we're going to do git flow feature publish, giving it the name of the feature. And doing this will push the feature branch up to the central repository. So we have a new branch. As we can see, the command tells us what it's done. It's created a remote branch. It's configured the local branch to track the remote branch. So when we do a pull now, we're going to pull from that remote branch. And it tells us we're still on the branch features to users can access single entries. If I look on the repository, we can see it tells me that it's just pushed the feature branch, just published the feature branch. And we can also see the list of branches. That feature branch is now there. So once we've published the branch, somebody else can grab that published branch and review the branch or do some work on the branch. They can collaborate on the branch with Dan. So in this case, we're going to take a look at how Rachel might do that. So remember, Rachel will be the person that's reviewing this code. Before we show the command that Rachel's going to use, Gitflow has one excellent facility, which is its help facility. So from here, for example, I can do Gitflow feature help. And this will list the subcommands that a given Gitflow command can have. So here we can see we have Gitflow feature start, we have Gitflow feature publish, we've already seen, and there are some other things as well. So delete, finish, and then there's these other two. So we can do a track and we can do a pull. So if I do a Gitflow feature pull, that's going to pull the changes for this feature branch into my local repository and then switch me into that branch. However, it's not going to set up tracking between the local repository and the remote repository. So instead of Gitflow feature pull, what I need to do instead is a Gitflow feature track. So that will check out the remote repository to my local machine and also set up tracking between my machine and the remote repository. So for Rachel, I'm going to do Gitflow feature track and then give it the name of the feature branch. And notice again, it tells us what we've done. So it tells me that I've created a new remote tracking branch, and it's also told me that I've switched to that branch. So Rachel is now on branch 2, users can access single entries, and we have tracking set up between Rachel's local repository and the remote repository. So at this point, any changes Rachel makes can be committed locally. Those changes can be pushed to the remote repository, and then those changes will also be seen by Dan. So we've had Rachel go ahead and make some changes. And if I do a git status here, we can see we've added a file and we've changed a file. So again, Rachel can do a git add to add these files, and we can do a git commit to commit the files to the local repository. So at this point, Rachel has made changes locally, but again, those changes aren't available to Dan to see in his repository. To make those changes visible to Dan, Rachel has to push the repository. So we push the changes to the remote repository, and if I flip into Dan's computer, then Dan can do a git pull, and we've now pulled those changes into Dan's repository. So at this point, we're just doing standard Git work. So users can make changes, users can push those changes, we can merge the changes, and we can manage those merges.